Hi, my name is Yona. I'm the after school leader at Field Teen Center, and today I'm going to talk about My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You That She's Sorry by Fredrik Backman, in which one little girl has to make amends for all of her grandmother's past mistakes. I listened to it as an audiobook on Libby. Now, this book wasn't written for teenagers specifically, but it was recommended to me by a teenager, and I really liked it, so I thought a lot of you would as well. Elsa's grandmother is different. Like the kind of different that means she stands on her balcony in her dressing gown with it flapping open and shoots paintballs at the neighbors, and she pees with the door open, and she smokes inside even when the people at the hospital or the police station ask her to please, for the third or fourth or fifth time, don't smoke in here. And she retorts, "What is this, Nazi Germany?" And her granddaughter Elsa goes, "Excuse me, actually, I Wikipedia'd it, and that is not what a Nazi is." And that's kind of how their dynamic goes. So Elsa's grandmother is different, but she's also Elsa's best and only friend, because Elsa is a little different too. She's a little bit of a know-it-all. She likes Spider-Man, even though girls aren't supposed to like Spider-Man, and she gets bullied for it at school. So when her grandmother finally gets sick and dies, it's really sad and upsetting for all the usual reasons, and also because it means that Elsa is alone. However, she's not really as alone as she thinks she is, because her grandmother has left her with all of her fairy tales and a treasure hunt. And it turns out that all of her fairy tales of the land of almost awake that she used to help Elsa fall asleep are also sort of a map of the people that live in their building. Because this is a story about a girl and her grandmother, but it's also a story about a community and an apartment building and all the people that live inside of it and all of their connections to each other and empathy. So a lot of them are people that Elsa is either afraid of at first or doesn't like at first, but her grandmother's treasure hunt forces her to deliver letters to each of them in a specific order. And they start to tell her their stories, and she realizes that they overlap with some of the fairy tales that she's been told. And she realizes they have a lot in common. So some of them include this enormous dog who eats just like buckets of cookies and buckets of ice cream throughout the book. Her busybody neighbor who has to be in everybody's business and needs everyone to make sure that they're following the proper protocols and contacting her first. Her own mother, the monster who lives upstairs, and a whole lot of others. So this book does have a couple trigger warnings. There's nothing too intense, but it's also a story about war and the consequences of war and PTSD. So there are some characters who have experienced domestic violence, and there are some heavy themes that come up. There's also a lot of cursing. See previous statement about Elsa's grandmother being different, but none of it's super intense. I also have a trigger warning that's sort of a spoiler, so I'll give you a minute if you want to skip ahead 10 seconds. So bad things happen to the dog in this story. I didn't know. I was upset. I still really liked the book, but if you're not in a place where you can handle a sad thing happening to a dog, maybe pause on this one. That said, I really enjoyed getting to know all of the characters. I really liked the way the story is told. I thought it was funny. I gasped aloud because even though it's a fairy tale and should be a little bit predictable for those reasons, I was still surprised by some of the revelations about who had had affairs with who and what somebody's secret past was. There's a moment, one of the grandmother's apologies, the juiciest one, was an apology for saving someone's life because she regretted it. So if you want to find out what that's about, go check out this book. Let us know what you think. Tell me who your favorite character was, or a favorite moment, or how many eternities of fairy tales it took you to finish the book. You can get in touch with us on Instagram or through our email, and both of those will be in the description box.